Welcome to the Music Chamber Podcast. I'm Dan Hegarty, and I'm here at Ultimate Studios. And we're here to bring you an excellent music show. We have guests here who are going to talk about their music industry experience. We have great bands perform here. We have a very professional setup, as you can see. What? No, it's fine. As I was saying, we have excellent musicians who play here, great guests, and you're going to get to see a little bit of that and hear some too. Check it out, and come right back.
You're going to learn lots.
It's too bad how things change. Quickly beauty can decay. It's too
I can't pay my bills on time with $8 an hour, so I meet you at the bar tonight for the happy hour. I said,
the evening's evil. We are the atmosphere. Atoms filled with fear. Being together for, I would say, you got to play for 6 months or a year because you're not even a band yet. You don't have your shows together. And for me, if you can't play for an hour, you can't make money. An hour. Not 40 minutes, not 30 minutes, an hour.
They giving you a budget to work inside of? Is it that kind of thing?
Comes from the label mainly, I think, that limits the manager. And the manager sees what they have to do with that money and how many shows they want to do with that money. So it affects how many people go on the road.
If you see me sweat and you see me crying on stage, you see me bleeding, it's real.
Yeah.
You know, and the guys play really hard and we give them a show. That's how you get to the next level.
So now you see what we do here at the Music Chamber. We have great musicians, we have excellent guests, we have a lot of good friends who come to see us, and what?
Dude, our guest right now, they're alone in the studio. We forgot again. We're sitting here doing this video. We left him alone in the studio.
This is what happens when you put drummers in charge of things.
Oh my God.
We got to get to the guest right now.
We got to go.
Let's
go.
go.
We're live on YouTube also.
All right, we're live.
What up?
Welcome to the Music Chamber. I'm Dan Hegarty,
I'm Charlie Waymeyer.
and we're here with our very good friend Robb Torres from Robbery Inc. What's up, Rob?
What's
What's up,
happening, brother?
guys?
How you doing?
How you
Welcome
doing,
back.
man? Thanks for having me.
Now, I say welcome back for anyone who might not know Rob. He actually played last year's Toys for Tots benefit, which we are working hard on for this year. So thank you again for doing that show for us, Rob. That
Yeah.
was awesome.
You're welcome. That was
You
fun.
can see Rob.
Still one of my favorite guitar tones.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, that's right.
Love your guitar tone.
Yeah, that guitar tone ruled. You can actually see some of Robbery Inc.'s performance on youtube.com/Ultimate Studios Inc. If you're watching the live stream now, you can check it out after you finish.
Yeah, wait till we're done.
Yeah, don't start in the middle of this. We've had so many technical problems today.
It's one of those nights.
Yeah, we're a little behind. We apologize to the audience and to Rob, but we're on top of it now. We're back on track. Finally.
Nice.
The joy of video.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we're changing up the format of the show a little bit today. We're gonna talk about all the things we've been up to first, and then we're gonna go straight through with Rob and all the topics. So, Charlie, what have you
Yes.
been doing other than keeping this place from falling apart for the last hour while we get ready here?
Oh, yeah. A lot of stuff lately, actually. Just got done doing a bunch of stuff for Ludwig.
Awesome.
Good new video coming out. Produced some stuff for Heil. Started working with
Drum videos or something else?
One's a recording thing. Like Heil, it's basic drum miking with all their stuff, which came out really well. And the Ludwig thing is for their, I don't know how much I'm supposed to say yet, but we shot an entire line of their drums with this drummer, Stephen Wolf from New York.
Awesome.
Cool.
He's been on like everything under the sun. This dude plays on everything.
That's excellent.
So that's getting close to being done. We have one pickup shoot next week, and then I'll finish doing the editing. But working with a couple new artists, working with a
Nice.
country guy named Robb Linus that hopefully we're going to have on the show sometime soon.
Excellent.
Who's cool. And a couple others that are getting ready to start. I won't say anything yet till I know for sure.
Right on.
Nice.
You know how that goes. You get
Yeah.
excited, you say something, and you're like, oh, shit.
Jinx
Yeah,
yourself.
just kidding.
Yeah.
We were gonna do this awesome thing, but now we're gonna do something else.
But yeah, so it's been busy between the video side of things and music side of things. It's been crazy.
Yeah. No, I hear you on that.
Crazy.
Good
I
for
hear-
you, man.
I hear you on that. I've been working on my solo record, the follow-up to Conflict 1-0 is Activate from last year. So I've been learning a lot about various recording techniques the hard way by doing it wrong and having to fix it. And the songwriting side of it, too. Like, I've got, like, 3
It's how the
tunes.
cavemen felt, you know what I mean? They were
Yeah.
just like, how do we figure this out?
Yeah, I don't have to figure out how to, like, build a house or
like-
cook a fire, so I guess
Yeah.
I'm doing okay in the grand scheme of struggle, right? But One
It's
of
all
my
relative, you know.
one of the tunes I'm really happy with now was about twice the length, except for the last month. I really dug into it and said, okay, how much of this do I really need? And some of it was a little rough because I really liked certain things, but it wasn't working. So I'm like, no, that's got to go. That's got to go. That's got to go. Replaced the drums, changed some of the electronic elements because everything was full on the whole time. And I'm like, this is too much. I have to I have to measure this. Otherwise, it's not special. You know?
Right.
So
You got to learn what to take out. That's the hardest part. You get all these ideas. You kind of fall in love with them. You got to figure out which ones actually work for the song and help it, and which ones just clutter it up.
Yeah, and it's easy to get carried away, especially when you are writing and recording it yourself because you have infinite options. So you start thinking everything's a good idea, and then you got to get away from it for a while and then go, wait a minute.
Right.
That was not a good idea. Not even a little bit.
That always happens after it's mixed and mastered for me.
Oh, wow.
Like, oh, man.
So you need to work on that process. No, by the time I'm that deep into it, I've already reviewed it so many freaking times. I'm tired of it. I'm like, does this sound good enough?
At some point, it's just got to be done.
Yeah.
Because you can continuously change things.
Absolutely.
But you hit a certain point where you're just making it different. You're not making it better or anything. You're just changing stuff.
I agree. That's when I know it's over. When I'm like, okay, this is not going to get better. It's just going to be different. That means let go.
Right.
Like,
yep, exactly.
Out it freaking goes. So I'm working on that. I was hoping it would be out in December. It's not happening till next year, probably March.
It's probably smart at this point.
Yeah, we have entirely too much going on here, and then there's the rest of my life too.
Yeah, exactly.
I have to spend a lot of time watching the Giants lose, so I have to make time for that.
I'm not
too.
talking about football today.
Oh.
How about baseball, dude? Dodgers.
Oh, that's right.
I'm all for that.
Congratulations to the Los Angeles Dodgers. They just won tonight. They're going to be in the World Series. I'm hoping against my New York Yankees, so I'm going to be hated even more than I already am.
yeah, man.
Based in Los Angeles, rooting for New York teams. It was a rough Stanley Cup in 2014. I'm looking forward to a rough World Series in 2017. But the Astros are awesome, so I'm not going to speak too soon. I want to worry about winning tomorrow first.
I went online to look for Dodger tickets for the game 1 and 2, and
they must be $500.
No.
No.
The cheapest was like $1,200 after fees and all that stuff.
The
cheapest.
Really?
Yeah, and that's like up in the in the top.
I was
section.
determined to go if it's me versus you guys, but not for $1,000.
Like kind of dugout. There was some tickets for around the dugout area for $16,000. And this is on StubHub.
That's because it's okay. Two things. Number one, it's StubHub, and number two, it's the Dodgers because it's a huge, big market team. It's going to be even more crazy.
Yeah,
it's
I mean,
like
but
that.
where else would you go and get tickets?
Ticketmaster, and hope that you get through.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Wow.
If you, I would definitely shoot for an official channel first.
But even StubHub is still like a $200 service fee, which they charge. That's probably their fee, but I would imagine the ticket's still going to be.
StubHub is also it's tickets sellers, so it's either season ticket holders or companies that have those tickets, and they're trying to make money on them because they have to pay for the seat license.
Okay.
That happens with football tickets a lot too. If you buy your football tickets on StubHub, it's the seat holders that they're trying to make up for the games they can't go to, or to pay for the cost of all the season tickets by jacking theirs up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
$16,000. Holy shit, that's a car.
Yeah, I go straight to the Dodgers website, and I guess it just sort of steers you to StubHub,
I guess that's the only place to get them right now.
Yeah.
Because they don't know who they're playing
another
yet.
Vivid tickets or something like that. There's another one.
Yeah, those are all secondary market.
Yeah.
Any baseball tickets to the stadium, you start with Ticketmaster, and those usually go immediately, and then you end up at StubHub or whatever. But you can buy StubHub tickets now, whereas Ticketmaster is not going to do anything until they know who the team is and they know what's going to happen for sure.
Yeah.
They're not going to print a ticket that says Los Angeles Dodgers versus Astros or Yankees. Like, it's not going to be that.
What I guess is like you can buy it now, and then if the game doesn't happen, you're refunded everything right away.
Yeah.
Yeah. So.
They're good about that.
Yeah.
It's like that for the Stanley Cup Final and the NBA Championship and all that other stuff, too. But
yeah,
congrats to the Dodgers. It's a long time coming. It's almost 30 years. We've had a lot of that in baseball the last couple of years. With the Mets and the Royals and the Indians who didn't quite figure it out this year. But, like, a lot of teams that have not won in forever are getting to the end now. That's pretty cool.
Right.
Yeah. All right, enough about sports.
You just don't want to talk
I'm
about
in a
it.
bad mood tonight.
Wait, you guys played today?
I'm not talking about
it.
You can go look at it later.
That's why.
When I'm not around.
I was going to say, it's been a couple of days.
It was bad.
Okay.
Just to say.
Okay. Well, the good news is you still have 5 wins, though. We have 5 losses.
Yeah.
So hopefully,
yeah, but just go read about tonight's game, and you'll understand why I'm.
Okay, all right, we
You'll
will.
know.
All right, let's get off this topic and talk to Rob. That's why he's here anyway.
Yes.
So thank you again.
I'm actually the least sports fan probably in this whole state.
I don't know about that.
Oh.
I know people that are actively against sports because it was forced on them as kids and they can't do it at all now. Like
I loved playing it as growing up, street football and all that stuff, but once I started playing guitar, I just had no interest in it.
I was convinced I was going to be a pro baseball player until I started playing music. Even when I was 14 and fat, and like I was just kidding myself, but that's how much I loved it. I was like, I'm going to figure it out.
Yeah.
And then I started playing drums and I'm like, I like this better.
Yeah.
I'm better at it. I don't have to be skinny.
My dad's a massive baseball fan, so he was going to come down here and we were going to try and go to the game and stuff, but the tickets are a little
Not when they're that expensive.
Yeah.
I'm going to try and talk him into it, man. I'm
Any-
like, look, this is
any major
once
league-
in a,
Yeah.
in a blue moon, man.
Right. Yep.
Let's just do it.
Well,
Have
how about
fun
this?
and-
Anyone who has the Dodger or Major League Baseball hookup, talk to Rob so him and his dad can go see the
Yeah.
Dodgers. How about that?
Dude, Dodgers World Series game with my dad would be great.
Yeah,
That'd be a great memory.
good man,
Yeah.
definitely.
Yeah.
All right, so let's talk about the band now. Let's get completely out of the sports. So Robbery Inc. is your band. It is your band, right? Like you started it. It's your
Yeah.
baby. Yeah.
Yeah.
When did it start exactly? How long have you been at this? Because I've met you
Man.
like 2 years ago, maybe.
Yeah.
But you've been doing it for quite some time.
Yeah, it's sort of started out as a sort of Robb Torres band, I was playing with Trap, and it was about 2013 I stopped playing with them, and then I had these songs. I was like, yeah, let's just write some songs and try and get them placed, and I wasn't really planning on singing these songs either. I was just going to let the co-writer sing them. And this girl that I wrote one song with, and she was like, "No, you're gonna sing it." I'm like, "Really?" And I did not sing before this, so this was about 2013.
Okay.
And just one thing led to another. I literally got the singing bug, just like I got the guitar bug when I was 15. And it was like this. I wanted to get better. I wanted to figure it out. I was terrified, but I'm like, I'm gonna figure this out.
That's the best way to get into something.
Yeah.
It was the same way when I took my first vocal lessons. I was like, I don't know what like I was terrified. I was all like very tense and all that. But I said, I better learn how to do this because it's a musical skill. And I did get called for some backup like singing gigs on drums, and
nice.
I had to say no because I didn't know how. And I was like, I need to not say no to shit because I don't know it when I should know it. at least a little bit. It also actually, by taking some vocal training and learning how to do it myself, it made me better at communicator with the singers that I worked with as a drummer.
Yeah,
You know?
I've always like done background singings, and I felt comfortable singing and harmonizing with the lead singer and stuff like that. So that was always a part of my
Which is
job.
usually the harder part.
Yeah,
'Cause
singing and
most
playing.
people, singing and playing
Yeah.
and doing harmonies, because
Yeah.
a lot of people, they hear what they have to harmonize against, they gravitate towards
Yeah,
whatever the lead line is.
yeah.
So you actually
I mean,
had the harder part.
Yeah, it
down.
wasn't like it definitely it wasn't always happening, but it was fun, and but when I started singing, I just busted out the old tapes and started learning that way, and I got as far as I can, and then just recently I started taking lessons with this guy from Boston by the name of Mark Baxter, and he comes down to LA once a month, and
From the East Coast?
yeah, from Boston,
Wow.
and he has a Friday through Sunday just packed out with lessons that students that he takes, and I've taken 4 or 5 lessons with him, and they're kind of pricey lessons, but man,
Vocal lessons usually are.
he just something about and I had been already studying like 2 years on my own through tapes and stuff like that. So once he came, I felt like I hit a block, and then once I took a few lessons with him, even the very first lesson, it was just like something just clicked. And I really started to understand, the muscle and the control and all that stuff that happens here, because it's anybody can learn how to sing and control that. It's just like a muscle, like it's an instrument. And I don't know, just kind of something just clicked and made sense. And by the
It's almost
fifth
like trying to
lesson-
find a personal trainer or a doctor. It's a personal relationship
yeah,
because
there was
as a vocalist, you are dealing with your body all the time. Like
Yeah.
of course, if you play guitar or drums or something, you're moving your limbs, but because it's your voice that you speak with and all the neck muscles and all the most sensitive areas of your face,
Yeah.
there is
which-
something very deeply personal about your
Yeah.
connection with the teacher of that instrument.
Yeah. So I feel like through him, I've improved a lot more. I'm still not there yet, but
Well, good on you for taking the
Yeah,
lessons.
yeah,
That's awesome.
I'm
I believe
into
in
it.
music lessons,
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
and not
I mean,
just
you
because
gotta
I teach them.
practice. You can't just take the lesson and not practice. Like you got
Oh,
to
yeah.
put in the time by yourself and just I'm driving around LA all the time, man, with this with the tapes on and singing, and it's like if anybody hears me
Isn't
or
the
sees
car
me
supposed-
driving around, it's like this guy's a weirdo. Man.
Isn't the car supposed to be the worst place to sing to because it's loud and because you're sitting, not standing, and all that? Is there any?
No,
No?
I mean, I don't think so. I think it's really helped me out a lot, to be
Oh.
honest. Yeah.
Well,
You
if
know,
you want to do it,
you
that
don't
also
want to
helps.
sing loud anyways. You want to try and hit notes without pushing a lot of air and things like that. So
Totally.
sort of helped me out. But
Right
yeah, it's
on.
been great, man. So
You spend enough time in the car in this city, you
Yeah.
got to make use somehow.
Yeah. For
So
me, it's listening
anyways-
to podcasts. You're much more productive than me.
So
I'm
yeah,
listening to
so-
comedians laughing.
the original project was the Robb Torres band. This was on the Robb Torres, and figured I'd just put it out that I couldn't figure out a name, and I was just like, let's just do that, and then whatever.
Coming up with a band name sucks. That's a hard thing to do. Like,
Yeah.
because everything gets built around it. So you're like, "Oh, it needs to be cool, but not stupid. It can't be
I
something
couldn't
nobody
figure one
has,"
out, man.
you know.
I couldn't figure one out, and then so I just went with that and put out an EP, and it just sat there. There was nothing. I had no band behind it. I had nothing. It was just a total solo project. And then a friend of mine, who's now who's managing the project, came up to me and was like, "You know what, man? I want to manage you. I want to do this band. I want to do this thing." I'm like, "Man, this is the music business." So, but we decided to just, rebirth the project. And we were just sitting down one day on the phone, coming up with brainstorming on band names, and one thing led to the next. You change one word and this and that, and we came up with Robbery Inc. And we were laughing because it's a play on my name, Rob.
Right.
And then it was like those double take kind of moments. Like, wait a minute, this is a cool name. It's like I think this could work.
Yeah.
And then we rolled with it, and I got a couple guys, and I guess the first incarnation of the band was with the bass player Paul Phoenix and drummer Richard Bradley. And it went great, and then slowly one guy drops and another guy moves away, and different players come in and out.
Maintaining a band in LA is not an easy task.
Yeah.
Like, life tends to pull people away.
Yeah.
So,
But I was lucky because even those guys were just really supportive of the project and into it, while they were on board, and it was great, But then finally settled on to, so this is already 4 years into the project.
congrats.
Wow.
That's good, man.
Settled on Matt Camgros on drums and Jonah Wejas, who's a keyboard player, but he's playing left-hand bass on the keys. And so we don't have a bass player. Like, it's just a trio, and we have his rig set up so it's going into a bass amp and fuzz pedals, and it's sounding massive on the bass side, and then he's got the organ and piano that he can do on the right hand.
Oh, nice.
It's
So
really
it
cool.
Sounds like a full band, but
Yeah.
it's just the three of us, which is really great for traveling and
Yeah.
keeping costs down.
And it's cool because you can play small and big venues with that setup. I saw you at the Hotel Cafe, like in the small room with that
Right.
band, and I
Cool.
was like, how's this gonna work? Because I know what kind of guitar player you are, and I know the songs.
Yeah.
But with the keyboard player and the drums and you playing guitar and singing, and exactly as you described, the bass on the left hand, I was like, this works, and it still rocks in a small space, which is
Yeah.
not easy to do.
Yeah.
It's very bluesy. You've almost
It's
got
cool.
like
It's
a
and it's an interesting twist on the power trio, So
totally.
trying to just
Yeah,
It's
come up
like a
with
power
something with a
trio,
unique
but it's
twist,
four kind of elements to it
Yeah,
instead of just the three.
Right. It's like a 4-piece band.
Yeah.
yeah.
And then, obviously, Jonah with his sort of, keyboard electronic prowess, like there's room to grow and add other, sonic elements if we want to start,
Yeah.
get another keyboard sound or
You get like five.
There's room to build more off this foundation.
Yeah,
I
you've got
think,
5 sounds because you've got the bass and then the lead keyboard, your voice, your guitar, and the drums. It's you get a huge sound out of 3 people.
Yeah, and sometimes he can even create a patch that has like an organ and a piano, like as he plays.
Right. Yep.
Together, so it's like.
Totally.
Yeah, I think it's a good foundation now, and I'm really looking forward to seeing just sonically.
And you have a new release,
developing.
yes?
Yes.
You have that vinyl over here that you can hold up for the camera so people can see it.
Little album.
It's pretty awesome. Robbery Inc. What's it called?
It's it's just a 2 singles, side A and side B. Really, we just made each side the side A basically. So it's side A and side A.
Nice. That's cool, man.
2 front covers, and this one.
You have
Honeybee.
2 pieces of artwork too to go with it.
Yeah. So Honeybees one was our first side A, and side B is a song called Skin. And
Nice.
Jonah's wife did the artwork on that. She hand drew that.
That's
which is
awesome.
Pretty awesome.
High quality stuff, man. Everybody look at that, and you can also see it online as well. Charlie, check it out. It's pretty cool.
Oh yeah, that looks great.
And
Yeah,
in the back,
it's
I forget the artist's name. Sorry, but he's in England, I think, or something like that.
right on.
Mm.
Well, you can find
This
that out
is
if
for
you
you
read
guys,
more about
man.
it.
You can crank it on your vinyl and.
Excellent.
and,
Thank you very much. We
Brought some picks too. Look, we got some little
Oh, look at that.
skin picks,
Awesome.
honeybees picks, and
Rob is
our
such a
old-
good
and
guest.
our
Oh,
old-
that's cool. So you have
Each
pick
album
for each
and
side
each
of
single,
the vinyl. That's
yeah,
awesome.
and then our little logo here, stamp logo. So
That's badass.
if you need a pick or for the
Hell yeah,
cutting
man!
some
I've been playing
guitars.
bass lately.
Yeah, this is his new thing now. Charlie thinks he's a bass player.
No, trust me, I make no mistake about that. I am not a bass player. I'm learning.
He's enjoying himself. That's his hobby. Yes. All right. So we're going to play a couple of these tracks now, or at least preview them. The YouTube audience will be able to hear them right away. Facebook, you're going to have to go to
YouTube.
youtube.com/Ultimate Studios Inc. to hear it right now.
That's right.
All right. So get on there.
Go.
If you're hearing this later, you have to listen to the audio version of the podcast to hear this.
Yes.
All
Do I
right.
hit play.
Go for it.
All right, this is Honeybee.
Let's hear it.
Baby, I've been thinking about you lately. Kinda hoping that maybe you'll come back to me and we can start over again, baby. Never meant to drive you crazy. Love can be so hard, but we can make it if you want to be lovers again. Sitting in a cold room, living in my own tune.
Sounds great.
Fantastic job on the engineering. Facebook audience, if you're watching now, youtube.com/Ultimate Studios. We don't have the multi-channel support just yet.
I produced it, yeah, recorded everything. Like the drums we did at
Won't you please come
guy Eric
home
Colvin.
and save me?
I'm drawing a blank on the studio.
Cause
Sorry,
I'm
Eric.
dying here
But we went to
all
his spot to do the
alone.
drums. And then
Only you
I did
can
everything.
be the one to bring me back
Actually,
alive,
I didn't
baby.
Will Breer mixed it.
Oh, please don't tell me that you hate me. I don't
But,
wanna hear those
part of the drum and
words.
everything.
I just want you to be my sweet honey.
Next track.
Yeah, the other side of this album.
Song called Skin.
Hey, Mr. Blue, can you tell me what's ailing you? why can't you speak the truth? Hey, Mr. Blue, do you realize what you have done? When you left for work, did you hope you'd use that gun? A flash and a bang, for you can count to 10. Do you feel any shame or what you're doing again? I gotta know just one thing. Did you kill him for the color of his? Did you kill him for the color of his? Did you kill him for the color of his skin? Hey, Mr. Blue, when you pulled up behind that car,
This is definitely like the national progression.
what made you scared?
I sense
Did you
elements of
know
like
that it
some
goes
percussion, right? But this is the next.
Yeah.
That keyboard is flashy.
Yeah, there's more keyboards.
punishment fit the crime.
It's also like grooves a little harder.
Signal and heat did the ultimate pride. A flash and a bang, for you can count to 10.
We've also had time to play songs live.
Do you feel
That's essential for getting a crowd to slow down.
do it again? I gotta know just one thing.
All right. Thank you for playing that. Appreciate it. Everybody should check this out. Check out Skin and what was the other song called?
Honeybee.
Honeybee.
Yeah.
Where can they check it out?
Well, you could pick up a 7-inch vinyl if you like at the band's website,
Which is?
www. Right, of course, it's got to be that.
Gotta.
RobberyInc.com.
Spelled like it sounds. Robbery.
Robbery
INC.
Inc. Inc.com. Yeah.
Good.
And you can also, if you can't afford $7, then you can go to Spotify and spin it there, or Apple Music, or Google. All the streaming spots have it.
Nice. And you're playing soon?
We have a show. Our next LA show is November 5th
Excellent.
at the Viper Room.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah.
That'll be great for you guys.
Oh, I love the Viper Room. We
what
just
night
did a
is that?
show a few weeks back there, in September, I think it was. It was great. You know.
What day of the week is that? I think
Yeah,
that's
it's
a
a
Thursday.
Sunday.
Oh, it's a Sunday. Sunday, November 5th at
Yeah.
the Viper Room. All right, guys.
Yeah.
We should check it out.
And then we're actually taking
sure we
off
make
to this indie festival in Toronto called Indie Week.
Oh, good.
Beginning of November, just literally the day after the show, or the next 2 days after the show. Whatever.
Well, that'll be a good week for you. You start off with a gig, and then you're out in
Yeah, we
on the
got-
road in another country. Yeah.
Yeah, we're going to Toronto, our first international show.
Good for you. Congratulations.
Thank you. We're gonna do 3 showcases there,
That's cool.
and if we
Is that North by Northwest? Is that the festival?
no, it's
Or
called Indie Week,
Indie Week.
Yeah.
Okay.
and then we do
North
3
by North,
shows.
It would be Northeast. I fucked up.
yeah.
Geography's not my strong subject. That's why I travel, so
You're
I can
thinking
learn.
of NACA.
No, I'm
NACA's the school.
NACA's the college thing,
right?
though.
Right. But that's it's
It was. I'm
Don't they
thinking of
cover a
South by
bunch of the
Southwest,
Northwest?
and I combined it with North
There's
by
North by
Northeast
Northwest.
to create North by Northwest.
Yeah.
So that would have to be in Seattle.
Isn't that
or
a
some shit.
Hitchcock movie?
It is actually.
Sounds like it, yeah.
North by Northwest is good. Yeah. We'll talk about some composing stuff. Speaking of film, but back to the
Yeah.
band. So you're going to Canada, doing the
Yeah,
Indie Week.
we're doing 3 showcases there, which is cool.
For anyone in Toronto who might be listening, do you know
Yeah.
what the venues are, or is that going to be on the band's website?
November 8th at a place called The Cavern.
Excellent.
November 9th at a place called Painted Lady.
Mm-hmm.
And November 10th at a place called B-Side Lounge.
There you go. Right on.
Yeah.
A busy week.
Yeah, and then the day after that, we're flying to Bristol, Pennsylvania to do a show at a place called the Broken Goblet Brewery, which should be fun.
That's an awesome name.
Yeah.
I love
like
that.
it. Yeah, the Broken Goblet Brewery.
It's like
Yeah.
a drunk medieval tavern. Kinda.
Now here's the interesting. So I guess the show on the 10th is a judged show, right, at the festival.
Right.
And if we win, apparently we have to do a show on the 12th. So that means we might have to fly back from Bristol back to Toronto to do the show. If we win.
Oh wow.
Okay.
How cool. But it's cool because if you win that show, then you get a full, trip paid to the UK where you get to perform Indie Week
So you want to
in
win.
UK.
You want to win. Then.
Yeah, you want to win
okay.
twice.
Yeah.
You want to win. You want to go back, but then you want to win
Hell
again.
yeah! Everyone get in there. Can the audience watch this online, or is it strictly a you got to be there
I don't know. Yeah, I don't know much about that kind of stuff
Yeah.
as far as what's going to be available for streaming.
I tell you what,
purposes
find
and
out
stuff.
and let me know. And if there is a link for people to watch you do this, I'll
Yeah.
include it with this episode's description.
Oh, dope. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because I think we can get that done in time for November 6th, 7th, 8th, whatever.
8th, 9th, and 10th.
Okay, yeah. So we'll
Yeah.
find out and let me know, and I'll include it.
Cool. Yeah, and then we got a couple more shows in Connecticut after that, and then we end up in New York on the 18th at the Bowery Electric.
Ah,
which,
yes, the good old Bowery.
Yeah, that's a great
You go to New
spot.
York a lot, right? You've been there
Been there
a few times.
yeah.
Yeah.
Because our manager lives out there, so it's kind of, he can get some people out there, and I
Oh,
feel
that's-
like it's like a nice East Coast hub to kind of
That's awesome.
have somewhat of a good,
Yeah, having
start
Makes-
helping to get
you can
people
go
out and
so
stuff.
many places if you're starting in New York with all nice,
Oh yeah,
very easy drives.
Mhm.
yeah.
Unlike
we go
This side of the country.
Yeah.
we go there, Philadelphia, and we kind of been hitting that.
Yeah, you can get to Philadelphia in like 2.5, 3 hours from New York, and Boston in
Yeah.
4. You can go to New Jersey, which is not far,
Yeah.
but it's a totally different musical landscape.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's a good place, and that's awesome that you have that too. Having the boots on the ground in the other city helps tremendously.
Yeah.
Mhm.
It was
yeah.
it was like that for my band Cobra Venom with the help we got from Larry Bro. So Larry hooked us up with awesome
Great,
Vegas
yeah.
gigs, and we got paid and it got treated well and got fed, and it was awesome. So
Yeah.
getting to do that in New York is for an independent artist especially really, really important. It's
Yeah.
cool that you have that.
Well, you can find your like Spotify analytics and stuff like that, and like a lot of our streaming most of it is from New York now.
Interesting.
So New York and then LA is second.
I can see you fitting in with both like the Lower East Side and the Brooklyn kind of scenes, like
Yeah.
with this particular band.
That's cool.
I think that works. I think you definitely have appeal for
It's
both
got a
of
bit
those.
of that garagey kind of vibe, that could work,
Yeah. You might even be able to do like the Hoboken, Jersey City kind of area too, if you
Yeah.
can find some decent places to play over there. I think that crowd would like what you're doing.
Great, right?
Jersey's a big rock crowd, remember?
Nice.
Like despite the bad reputation that New Jersey has for every fucking thing in life.
Yeah.
Funny enough,
Every-
like,
Everything.
The rockers in Jersey are not a joke. They're awesome.
we did a show, our first tour. We did a show at this place in Jersey called the Brighton Bar.
Oh, I know the place. Yeah,
You've been there?
I haven't been there, but my friends are there on tour all the time. Like it's one of
Dude.
those stops.
There was nobody there, but we had the best time, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, the bar staff was great. The bands that we played with loaned us their gear, and they were all cool. And it was just like we had literally the best time, man. It was so good.
That's awesome.
But there was nobody there. And they're like, yeah, Jersey Shore could be hit and miss sometimes. I think it was a Thursday night too, so it was like
Yeah,
or it
down
was a
down the
Saturday
shore
or
is
something.
really questionable. It's all about what time of year you're there too. If you're there in
Yeah.
the summer, you'll do okay. If you're there in the middle of the year or the winter, hit or
yeah,
miss,
I
like you
forget
said.
when we went. It might have been the fall or something, but
Yeah, that's after everybody leaves.
yeah, it was empty. But
Unless they live down there, and then there's a million things to do. So,
and they paid well too. I'm like, cool. It was like our only gig. We
It's like-
got real money.
so it's like a paid rehearsal.
Yeah.
Sometimes those are fun, really
Yeah.
fun gigs, though, because you just don't care. You just go play your ass off and have some fun.
Yeah. Charlie's done that. He's played shows for like
Oh,
just the
yeah.
bartender and the sound guy.
Well, we
had
hung
those
out with
gigs.
some the bar staff afterwards, and they were just cool people, man.
Yeah.
It was good. I'd love
Yo-
to play there again.
The thing that you don't want to underestimate if you are in this situation, if you're in a band and you're playing a place and it's empty or whatever, the people who work there deal with music all the time, and it's not always good. So
Mhm.
if you go there and you play well and you're cool, they'll remember that.
Yeah.
You know?
That's worked out for us several times on the road where you're there. It's like the bar backs, the two waitresses, and maybe, the owner's sitting in the corner playing the poker machine,
Yeah.
But if you go in there and you do what you did, you just play your ass off, have a
Yeah.
really good time, hang out. We always got gigs because they were like, man, this is awesome. It sucks this wasn't. Let's bring
Yeah.
you back on a better night.
Totally.
Yeah.
And it worked quite a
Yeah.
few times, actually.
And they've got friends who work in all the places where they could have gigs and
Yeah.
stuff like it. It really behooves you if you're a musician and
You
you have
can't take the night off.
Yeah.
You can't bitch about it. You can't write the gig off. You got to go do whether it's 2 people or 2 million people. You got to
Yeah.
play the same show.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Period.
It's exciting playing, outside of LA and just kind of, playing a new venue and stuff like that. And
Yeah.
there's always gonna be a couple people there, hopefully more, but people have never heard your stuff, and like you said, the staff they've never heard your music.
Since I began touring, I've always said, you're good when you go to a place where no one knows you and they react well.
Yeah.
You know, because you can get in your own head about how this is, and especially in L.A., like what you think is good and what you're used to experiencing, when you're out of, like, there's no fans here for you, it's just people, you find out if what you're doing is any good at all.
Yeah.
And it's the best feeling. Like, the first gig I ever played was in Vegas with Cobra Venom on tour, and we got, like, the place erupted 45 seconds into the first song, and I was like, like, I was confident in our abilities before that. I felt good about the band, but that was really, like, it was a cold start. Like, it was like, who's this? And then so, and we've had many good gigs there since. So that was an awesome feeling.
Yeah.
Especially when you go somewhere, if you go somewhere you haven't been yet, too, that's awesome, too. Like, we had an awesome show in Denver, Colorado, and I'd never been to Colorado, ever.
Yeah.
And, again, like, a minute into it, everyone's like, yeah! You know, sold a bunch of merch after, made some new friends.
The thing with me, too, is, like, if the room sounds good, you know, even if there's nobody there, as long as if the room is sounding good, then that's excites me enough. You know,
Right.
It's like, great,
Oh,
okay,
absolutely.
good sound, and you feel the power of the band, and it's like, it's fun, you know? But if there's that, you know, and this happens sometimes, it's an empty room, and just the sound just sucks.
That's when it's really a job.
That's when it's like, this is going to be a rough one, man.
Yeah, that's when
You
it's
know?
a job. That's when
Yeah.
and it all depends on the type
And
of
those sets tend to last forever. That 45 minutes feels
Yeah,
like
you're
about
like,
3
let's just cut
hours.
that one song. Whatever.
Yeah,
Oh,
you
you start cutting all
I'm gonna leave
kinds
that
of
one
songs.
song. You're like, I'm not gonna do that one. I'm gonna rest my voice, you know, for tomorrow's gig. You know.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, and when you play that kind of show and it's not going well, it cannot be over fast enough. Like,
Nope.
when
Yeah.
everyone's there like this.
You know what
or-
happens when we do that? Because we have what I love about Robbery Inc. is that there's a certain improv aspect to the band, right?
Right.
So I can just like turn to the guys and be like, we're gonna open this up
Mm.
and just solo, and then Jonah will take a solo.
Mhm.
You know what I mean? And we can just sit there and kind of fuck off on our own and just have fun and make it up. And it ends up being really exciting because now we're sort of on this spontaneous kind of like, all right, where are we going to go now? Let's just have fun here, you know?
Totally.
And it keeps it loose. And I really like to really have that element in there. You know, we don't do it all the time because we want to try and put on a show and that thing, but there's moments where it's just like, you know, let's just stretch this out, you know, let's have fun, you know.
And with your type of music, it works well. Like
Yeah,
bluesy
we
kinda
improvise,
rock.
and you know, everyone's got a jazz background in the band, so you know, we're just it's like, you know, riding a bike, you know, as far as that whole improv aspect.
Yeah. And it's good that you get used to doing that in different situations too. It helps
Yeah.
you as a band.
It helps keep shows fresh a little too.
Yeah,
Because it's not you're maybe playing the same songs, but maybe they get tied together differently or stretched out a little
Yeah.
different. You can play off the audience a little bit. That's
Yeah.
kind of cool.
Yeah.
That's really
just
cool.
that slight change kind of makes a big difference, you know. At least for us as playing it, you know, night after night, you know, that little bit.
Right.
You know, when I was with Trapped, we would literally do the same set every tour. Sorry, I was a little too close to that. I need a.
It's all good, man.
Every tour we would do a set. You know, we'd do a new record, and there'd be the one single. We'd play that song, but then we wouldn't do any other songs on the record,
Mhm.
which blew my mind. But I wasn't in the, you know.
You didn't make that decisions.
It wasn't my decision, although I did, you know, bring up the idea of it. But I mean, it makes sense. People want to go see the
songs they
singles,
know.
you know.
Yeah.
And there's been enough singles for those guys that they can do a set of that stuff, you know,
Oh wow.
for their fans. But there was one song that we would do, and I'm drawing a blank on the name, but we decided to, me and the drummer and the bass player, we were like, we're going to open this and we're going to take a long solo and we're going to make it a big instrumental thing. So it was like the one moment of the set that I got to like improvise and just kind of be spontaneous with music. And it was the only night that I looked forward to the whole night, or the moment of the set, you know. So
Yeah. So now you bring up an interesting point here. So you're in that band Trapped as a sideman, as a like hired gun
I
kind of
started
situation.
as a hired gun. Eventually, you know, I kind of got brought into it, but it was, you know, it was all just, you know, okay, this is what you're gonna earn, and that's it, you know.
Right. So
it wasn't like I was in paper signed or anything like that.
Right. But you're not the creative force of the band at that point. You're hired to do a job. So it's a different
On the
experience.
record, well, I came in and there was a new record that was already recorded, and I came in to play guitar.
Right.
And so, yeah, that whole cycle, I was just show up and play kind of a thing.
Right.
And then,
So you did a lot of touring with that group, though, yeah?
Yeah, we did Crew Fest, the first Crew Fest
Oh,
tour.
wow.
That was fun. Yeah, we did a few tours with that. And then when we did the next record, I wrote on all of it, pretty much.
Mm-hmm.
Played all the guitars on that record, and then you become kind of a band, and you're involved in the profit sharing and stuff like that.
Right.
But you're also paying expenses, and
Yeah, see,
no one
that's
gets
another
paid
thing.
until everything gets so. But whatever, it worked out. And then
Well, that's something that's come up on this show before, the band membership versus the being a hired gun kind of thing. Like,
Right.
there's benefits to both. Like, there's a
Yeah.
lot of the school of thought is if you're in the band, you should get a piece of everything. But sometimes you might not want that. You
You don't
might
wanna
want
get
to just
tied
get
into
your
the
check
mess,
and not
yeah.
be responsible
Yeah.
for paying for the bus and paying for the hotels and paying
Yeah.
for the gear and hiring the staff. Like, there's some responsibility that comes with that percentage. So some musicians might just be like, it's $1,200 a week, I'm in. you know.
Especially if a band's been going for a while, that you don't know fully what their business past has been like, so you can get entwined into some business mess that you don't want to get involved in.
Oh, totally.
whatever,
Like if
what
you
I
owe
mean?
money
So-
to something or you're in debt
Mhm.
or there's a
yeah, so you got to find a way to navigate that. But whatever.
And you have the bands too. Sometimes don't want to have a band.
Yeah,
They want to have hired people under them, so it's just simpler on
Yeah.
that end.
Totally.
A lot of people doing that too.
Yeah.
it all
There's definitely pros and cons for each position.
yeah, and then you got to be willing to live with it after you say yes. That's the other problem. There's a lot of this like, oh, we want a band member eventually, but we're just gonna try you out, but it's gonna keep you on the fucking salary because you're a controllable expense. But on the other side of things, and this happens to many people, including we talked about this with John Bach when he was on the show, our mutual friend. If you get asked to join a band and there is no money and you have to assume risk, that's a totally different situation. It's like,
Right.
all right, wait a minute, hold on.
And especially if there's a band agreement where it's like you can't play because you're in a band and you're signed to this label.
Oh yeah,
You're not allowed to play with any other band
Yep.
unless you get permission of them. Like there's
exclusivity
that
clause.
stuff that happens,
And that happens even like
A lot, actually.
you're allowed to play live, but you can't record. That's the other thing. You sign a record deal, that's exclusive in a lot of cases. Your label has to
So
sign
you gotta
off.
be careful on what you sign, man.
Yeah.
And what you get into.
You want to play on your friend's record, they might not be cool with that. So it's
Yeah.
it's one of those hoops to jump through.
Mhm.
The other thing, the 3 magic words. I've said this on the show before, but I'll bring it up again because now that we're on this topic. Letter of inducement. That is
Never heard of that. What is
that is the document that says you are in the band. If you've already signed and already making money and already contracted, letter of inducement means you get what the band gets. That's
Okay.
that's the thing. That's the magic letter. I work in royalties and publishing, so I deal with this all the time. We have to figure out where's the inducement letter for this band member, is it not a band member? Is it just a friend? Because
Right.
things like your publishing get affected. Do you have to?
Yeah, that's a
Do you get the full stat rate or the controlled comp rate? Are you getting an artist royalty or not?
Mhm.
Letter of inducement. Know what
Yeah.
it is. Ask what it is. You will be happy.
Holy smokes.
Yeah. That's a big one. So we've talked about the band stuff a lot, and this has been a really awesome perspective into this. But you also, this is only one of the things that you do. You're also a producer and you're a composer as well.
Yeah.
So let's talk a little bit about some of these films that you've worked on. We went through your IMDb credits before this. One of the films, The Disembodied, was an LA Cinefest Best Short nominee, I believe, and was the comedy Moving On. Was that the name of it?
There's Moving On, yeah.
Yeah.
That was a comedy.
So you've worked on The Disembodied, which is clearly some kind of horror movie, yeah?
Uh-huh.
And then you've got the comedy with Moving On. 2 totally different types of movies. Now, when you're a composer, how different is your process? Do you approach things musically kind of from the same place, or is it more of it's whatever the director wants, or do you have your toolkit? What do you do when you're called for
It's
this?
completely different than songwriting. That's for sure.
Oh yeah.
There's no the whole song form just kind of gets thrown out the window,
Mm-hmm.
But I'm relatively new. I think I got only done like 7 shorts, which is I think pretty good. But
That's quite good
yeah.
actually.
it's I haven't done one in a minute, but it's I don't know. I'm not specific on genre. I'm just kind of taking whatever comes my way right now.
Mm-hmm.
I think I gravitate more towards the spooky kind of dramatic kind of music.
Right.
But yeah, I don't know. It's definitely you sit and look at a movie, and when you don't hear music, and when you listen to when you look at a film that has music, you're like, oh yeah, I can do that. That's great. Oh, okay, yeah, it's easy. I understand that. But then when you're actually sitting at a film, looking at a film, spotting it, and there's nothing going on, then it's like blank.
Yep.
Yeah.
You're like, what am I gonna do? Oh my
Especially
God.
if there's no
And then
temp track and no like guidelines. You're there like I'm
Yeah.
on a totally blank canvas here.
I've only got to do it a couple times, but it's also kind of fun when you're staring at that.
Yeah.
Especially once you find your idea
Yeah.
and it starts rolling. And then it's kind of cool because it's, like
Yeah.
it's almost like you're hearing a movie with nothing,
Mhm.
and then all of a sudden the colors and everything, the music comes to life, and it changes everything you're looking
You find the one little thing and the idea that sort of becomes a piece, and sometimes it's like you score a middle part of the film, and that's where the idea comes from. Then you sort of work backwards. I guess there's no right way to do it,
Yeah.
but
Well, I've gotten to score a couple of web series, and I like jamming with it. Like I'll look at it and I'll
Yeah.
go, okay. One thing I try to think of is, okay, what is the overall sound of this movie? Like, what are the actors' voices and the Foley in the background doing, and how can I sit in there? Like, do I
Yeah.
think a piano would work here? Would a guitar work here? Would a synth work here? Maybe just drums? Like,
Yeah.
I'll try a few different ideas
yeah,
when I'm watching, and then I'll talk to my director after we do the spotting session, and I get a chance to like really get in there. And then I've been fortunate. My director has very specific visions for what he wants, so he's open to my ideas. But once he hears something he likes, that's a building block now. So then I
Yeah.
have to kind of work with that and develop some character themes to go along with also
Yeah.
the sonics of it.
yeah. Definitely, directors have they're the ones that you want to follow. Their suggestions and ideas and stuff like that.
Yeah,
But the
editors too, because you have to
Yeah.
have what you're scoring to has to be what's actually going to happen. Because
Well,
otherwise, then the
film-
cue doesn't
films
work.
I've worked on, the editor is the director. It's
That
like one
that can
guy.
actually simplify things. That can be useful, because when you have to deal with multiple people, sometimes the communication lines can get a little
yeah.
disrupted.
No, it was great. The first one I did was this one called All of Me, and the director just kind of enjoyed everything I did, which I was like, oh my God, I hope she loves this and stuff like that. But we originally discussed like what kind of instrumentation it was gonna be,
Mm-hmm.
So I guess that was kind of like the seed that I was it's gonna be cello and electric guitar, like really verby delay electric guitar.
Mm-hmm.
Those two instruments, and that's gonna be the foundation of the score.
Yeah.
And so I just started composing these little pieces just with those instruments in mind. Sometimes it's just cello, sometimes it was just guitar.
Do you play cello at all?
No, but I programmed it out,
Synths,
and
okay.
then you get a real cello player. If it's
Totally.
a solo thing, you want to get like a real player to.
Yeah, I was going to ask you if you prefer acoustic real instruments to the various huge available amount of patches that are out there.
Well, when you're doing solo strings, it's hard to fake.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you want to get.
If you got a group or an ensemble, you can kind of tuck sometimes, but solo shit's really hard, man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
At least you get a real player to play part. Some, then you can
Build
add
around
with
it.
some. Yeah, but
Yep.
Yeah. Most
plus
composers,
real just sounds better.
real obviously sounds better. It all depends on who's available and the budget and some other things. But I feel like overall, most composers I've dealt with all say the same thing. You got to get at least one real one, and then you can play around.
Yeah, I mean,
Hopefully more
if
than one,
If
but-
you do an orchestral kind of score on a short film that has no budget, there's no way you're gonna get a real orchestra on that.
Right.
No, obviously, and there's union issues with orchestras too, so there's that as well. So
Yeah, I mean, there's
Oh, there's plenty that'll do it that aren't union.
oh, there are,
but
but
if you do like a little chamber thing, you can get
suddenly the union finds out, and that's a different problem.
You could find
Only if
like,
they're part of it. It depends. There's a lot of variables there.
Yeah.
if you do a little chamber thing, you could find someone that plays violin and viola, and a cello player, and you got something kind of cool there that you can play with,
Yeah.
And then,
Be kind to your string players if you know any, folks. They come in very handy if you're a composer.
Totally, yes, absolutely.
That's good. So we were also talking about, I believe the movie was called Language of Ball.
Yeah.
Language of Ball.
Yep.
Well, now here's where the New York thing is going to be a problem. That word is ball to me.
Ball.
That round object that you use in sports is a ball, not a ball.
Ball. Language of ball.
Like when you were telling me it was the language of ball, I'm like, ball like that demon? Like, like oh, okay, wait a minute. No, this is the culture clash again.
It was filmed in New York too.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
It was a basketball.
Yeah,
movie?
it's a basketball themed, street basketball themed kind of short.
Right.
Directed by Ramon Rodriguez, and he wrote it as well. And it's this kid from Yemen comes over,
Mhm.
doesn't speak any English, and he's playing ball, and then he meets this Puerto Rican kid, and they start to play basketball together. They become friends and go around to other courts, and
Oh, that's awesome.
yeah, it's cool. So a lot of it's very action kind of street ball playing,
Right.
And the score, you being a drummer is just drums.
Oh,
It's all
that's
just
awesome.
a drum groove,
It's kind of like Birdman.
Kind of like Birdman, yeah.
Yeah, I got to check that out. You seen that movie?
No.
You would love this movie. I'm going to recommend it right now. Birdman is an all-drum score to the story of Michael Keaton's fallen Hollywood actor that now is trying to revitalize career by doing a Broadway show.
Yeah.
It won the Oscar the year it came out, and it's got very, very divisive views of it because they go after Hollywood, they go after New York, they go after the
Yeah.
entertainment business, and the whole time there's just this relentless drum score. It's awesome. I
Yeah.
loved it.
Yeah, it's really good.
I have to check it out.
It was my favorite part of the movie, and I liked the movie. I thought all the actors were good. I really liked the story. It's very destructive. It's not
Yeah.
pretty, but
Yeah.
and Michael Keaton is fantastic in
Yeah,
that
yeah.
movie. Like, so I'm a sucker for anything he does.
Oh, me too.
Yeah. So watch this and turn on all your friggin' speakers when you do it because
Yeah.
I think you'll love it. I'm glad I saw that in the movie theater. Like especially when there's such a drum heavy score.
Yeah.
It was the same for Whiplash too. I was like, I'm glad I saw this in the theater.
Yeah. But we didn't intentionally start out with the idea of it being just a drum only kind of piece.
Mm-hmm.
I think we were focused on the rhythms, right? We really wanted it to reflect, the Puerto Rican, Spanish kind of vibe in one section, and then the other part, of town in Chinatown might have a different vibe of the beat, more funk or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
And then once we had the beat, then we were going to kind of build a song on the beat. And our drummer, Matt,
Mhm.
I was kind of like, we kind of did it together, so I was like, all right, Matt, this is the thing, just, play some grooves. And, we had some ideas and references from Ramon, the director. And so we finally found the beats that we wanted. And, then we was trying, okay, let's build a song on top of this, like what's the actual song going to be? And we just eventually just stripped everything away and went back to the drums,
Nice.
and had a percussion player in there, and it was good.
If you guys hear that grunting, that's Oscar the studio dog. I think he heard a cat outside, and now he's trying to get out there.
Oscar, what are you doing?
You got to see his tongue just like hangs out like.
Oh yeah, it doesn't quite fit in his
crazy.
mouth.
Nope.
How is that?
It's
Just
a
a big tongue?
really big tongue.
Yeah.
Gene Simmons would be jealous of that tongue.
It's just constantly hanging out. It's
Yep.
funny. Yeah.
He's our companion. He hasn't walked into the shot just yet, but
No.
I think
It's been a while since he's been on camera, actually.
he's getting a little close though.
When
I
he
think.
wants to, though, he will be.
Poor
He'll be
guy,
sitting
man.
in your lap by the end of
Oh,
this.
yeah.
Watch our views go through the roof. Like once there's a dog in the studio, all of a sudden the
No one
internet's
cares
like,
about us.
"Shh." Like screw these guys and their music bullshit. Oh look, it's a doggy. That's awesome. Maybe we should do that. Maybe the next show we should have a dog just sitting around while we do this. Put Oscar like right
Should be
here,
you and I, and we'll put Oscar right there.
Yeah.
He'll be the guest.
and he'll just bark into the microphone. Interview with Oscar, like they can't be serious. And you have 200 live viewers right now.
I
400,
know.
800,
I
2,000.
know.
There's people that have like Instagrams for their pets.
Oh, I know.
He's
And they're
got one.
like-
Oh, yeah,
He's
sure
totally got
does. The
one.
Adventures of
Yeah.
Oscar.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How many followers does he have?
Not enough.
Yeah.
I think only a couple
You
hundred.
got to post more.
I know.
A couple hundred. He should start a band. That's what you should do.
He's got more than me.
Yeah.
You guys, we need to create Instagram pages for pets and then sell them to bands.
Right.
That's already happening. Somebody's in on that. All right. So we're at the part of the show now, Rob, now that I've covered my topics with you. Let's give you the floor. Is there anything you would like to mention or bring up here on the Music Chamber? Musical or otherwise?
Well,
Don't ask for money. That's illegal.
right.
Is it really?
The Securities Exchange Commission has rules about asking for money for things on the Internet. Tennyson told you about it, right? Remember that?
I don't remember that part.
Your mind is not a sieve. You don't listen to things you're not interested in. You were like, holy shit, wow!
I was. I
Mind
thought we were
blown.
talking about.
And now
I
you
I
don't
remember
remem-
talking about something else. I don't remember that.
Oh, God. Yeah, the short version is yes, it's illegal. Anyway, back to this. Totally stole your thunder. They were thundering there with my rant at Charlie.
know.
I apologize.
Did we talk about the? I guess we didn't really talk about the producing stuff, but that's fine.
Oh, yeah, let's get into that. No, we've got a huge board behind you. We should be talking about that. Yes, so producing-wise, you produce, obviously, the record that we played earlier in the show. And what other artists, like, what are some of the types of music that you produce when you're in the studio?
Really, it's been great. It's been all kinds, doing this sort of eclectic-y kind of 80s inspired pop record, but it's also modern inspired. I don't know. It's hard to pinpoint.
Male or female vocals?
Male. His name is Juval Porat.
Cool.
And he's a cantor, and he just writes these really great poppy songs, and he just gives me full reign on the production and stuff, and it's
Nice.
great, man.
Is he based in L.A.?
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, very cool.
And we're getting near the end of a full record, and really excited to kind of put it out there.
Awesome.
I did a couple songs on his last record, but I guess this time he was just kind of like, I want you to do the whole record, and so I'm like, cool. Did a band called Bamford Cook out of Brisbane, Australia.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, it's
It's a remote session?
A
Did
guy
they-
and a girl came over. No, they came over, and
Oh, cool.
And I had a friend do the drums, and we did the bass and guitars and everything in my spot. So
Very cool.
that was fun. In like a week, we did 5 songs.
Oh, nice.
So, yeah.
That's awesome. Do
yeah.
your studio have a name?
I've been using Cartier. What is it? Cartier General.
All right.
My wife came up with it. She's French.
I was going to say there's an international
like General
vibe.
Porter Studios, but in French.
Oh, very cool.
Cartier General.
Right on.
General.
Do you have a site where we can hear some of your work, or is that is there a site where we can hear some of this?
French
or
accent.
not yet.
Yeah. Well, I've been meaning to get a proper like production website going.
Right.
But right now it's just SoundCloud. So like Robb Torres production on SoundCloud.
Nice. So
And
you
then
Cool.
put little playlists.
So
once
even
the artist
without-
releases it, then I can release it.
so you're able to find work doing this without having the website. That's good, actually. That means you're
Yeah, Craigslist has actually been kind of, kind to me.
interesting.
It hasn't been kind sometimes, most of the time.
That's
but
my experience with it.
It's delivered me a couple good, I met Javal through Craigslist, and we've really, done well. So,
Yeah, it's definitely a hit or miss situation with that.
but most of it is really like word of mouth, and
Obviously, musicians talk to each other. People who
Yeah.
need recordings talk to each other.
Yep.
That's
yeah,
that.
yeah. So
It is still a small business at the end of the day.
Yeah.
A very niche market small business.
Yep.
how do you survive, man?
It's mostly word of mouth.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's funny is I've done a ton of advertising for the studio for things, and the advertising's brought in
Almost nothing.
literally I can count on one hand.
Yeah.
I'd say 90% is word of mouth. I've got
Yeah.
a little
Word of mouth
sometimes
and like
Craigslist
repeat
has
work,
been
right?
Yeah. Yep, exactly. And a lot of it's from that
Yeah.
repeat work. Somebody goes, "Oh, hey, go over there and do this," or they can do that.
Yeah.
And a couple things from Craigslist, actually, surprisingly,
Yeah.
not a lot, but a few things.
Yeah. I've done some stuff where, and also being a guitar player where I can do sessions for people.
Yeah.
That's worked, and that's sort of opened up avenues where it's like people hear me work, and then they see the studio, and they're like, oh, I want to come here and do a song, and things like that, So that's,
Nice.
there's been a few of those, and then, and then they just, as your sort of client list grows and it compounds.
Right.
All the
Yep.
It's
word
the
of
same
mouth.
for me. I end up usually getting referred through my various groups of friends and fellow collaborators. That's where I get most of my work. I mean, once in a while I'll get somebody will find my website or something, or I'll be giving out cards someplace and they'll just but mostly it's referrals. Like it's still a very referral heavy thing. Yeah.
Well, right on, man.
Good. All right. Well, thank you again for being on the show.
Yeah.
One more time, where can we find you and the band and the music?
November 5th at the Viper Room. We'll definitely be there in person.
All right.
And you can pick up a nice vinyl.
There you go.
No
And
holograms?
Huh?
No holograms
No
at that show?
holograms.
the
not yet.
the Viper Room budget is not supporting holograms
yet.
at this time.
No.
Yeah.
And what about online? What are the sites again?
Robbery Inc. band for all the social stuff like Twitter and YouTube and Facebook and Instagram and all that stuff. But you can just go to robberyinc.com and we have links to all the other stuff there.
Excellent. And everybody check this description. We are going to try to include, if there is anything in the Toronto Festival, it'll be in there. Otherwise, we'll just have links to Robbery Inc. and all the various things. All right.
Awesome.
Very
Rob,
nice.
guys.
Thank you again. This has
Dude,
been an
thank
excellent
you.
show.
Thank you.
Take care. Thanks,
yeah.
Charlie.
Thanks, Dan.
audience.
Thank you.
We'll see you
Hope
next
you
time.
all are rocking.
All right.
Oh, just stepped on my headphone cord.
I did that earlier.
We have to take Charlie to the hospital now.
This is the blooper This is a blooper section of the show.
Isn't that the whole show? All right. We'll see you next time, everybody. Thank you again.
See y'all.